Howdy, folks. So day two of the book reading. Anything weird? Not really. Let's see. Oh, I had a parcel come today. It's just weird because you're going out and you're picking it up uh, with disinfectant wipes, and taking it in and wiping it all over. And it's just, I know we have to do it. It's very weird. That's all. So as I said, this is day two, chapter two, and I put a hat on. Well, a cap. I'll try and put a different one each day because then I'll know what day it is. Helps me anyway. Let's see now. The song, yes. Oh, by the way, not every chapter is just set about one song. I've got some chapters where I talk about band names and where they came from, and some of them are really fascinating. And song names and things like that, just where they came from, and maybe some interesting facts about songs as well, that have been released several times and who did the original. And anyway, but today is about a song, and it's not just a song, it's a fabulous song, and it's by the master himself, Frank Sinatra, and of course, it's My Way. So let's get started. Chapter 2. 50 odd years ago, and I'll just qualify that. I say odd years because you could be reading this or watching this in 2030. So obviously it's going to change. But so 50 odd years ago, Frank Sinatra released My Way. Although it peaked at only number 5, it was to remain in the UK charts for the best part of 2.5 years and was to become the song which defined Sinatra himself. With its soaring melody and defiant lyrics, it not only summed up the career of the greatest singer of all time, but it struck a chord with the lives of millions of ordinary people all over the world. It has since been covered by more than 100 different artists and has given chart success to acts as diverse as Dorothy Squires, Elvis Presley and the Sex Pistols. It continues regularly to top the karaoke charts, and much to my shame, I have to admit, when I'm on holiday and if we go into a karaoke bar, this song is usually my party piece. Now, to be fair, I did walk away with many occasion with a first prize of a €3 bottle of fizzy wine, so it didn't do me any harm. Now back to the story. Around the world, and according to a recent survey, this song is the most popular song to be requested at funerals, which is a bit strange. But it nearly wasn't recorded at all. And were it not for a chance conversation over dinner, Sinatra would not have released it. My Way started off as a rather gloomy number called Comme d'habitude by French singer Claude Francois. In 1967, his tune about the end of a love affair reached number 1 in France, but took rather a different lyrical tone from its later reincarnation. The song has little in common with My Way, other than the melody. But that was enough for Canadian singer Paul Anka. At the time, the 27-year-old crooner was a star himself. And thanks to hits such as Diana and It's Time to Cry, and he said it was after hearing Comme Habitude while on a holiday in the Riviera. As he put it, it was a shit song, but I felt there was something about it. He approached Francois and co-writer Jacques Rivaux and acquired the rights for free. Oh boy, was that one bad mistake by them. He approached Francois and co-writer Jacques and acquired the rights for free, Back in New York, however, Anka couldn't find the inspiration he needed to make something out of the tune until one day he received a phone call from Frank Sinatra. The pair went out for dinner and Frank dropped a bombshell. I'm quitting the business. I'm not going to do Frank Sinatra. I can't do impressions. Okay. So he said, I'm quitting the business. I'm sick of it, he said. I'm getting the hell out. Sinatra was no longer an A-lister movie star that he once was. Not only that, but his ties and links to the mafia scared the big movie companies away. He said to Anka, "You have to write me something. You promised for years to write me something." And Anka remembered this melody and was very motivated and surprised with Sinatra telling him he was retiring. Anka went home and sat at his typewriter and started to write the song as if Sinatra was writing it himself. Anka put himself into Sinatra's shoes. If he was to write Sinatra's defining song, he wanted to make sure he captured the spirit of the man, even down to the way he talked. He used words he would never use. "I ate it up and I spat it out." But that's the way Sinatra talked. The Rat Pack guys, they liked to talk like the mob guys. So he started typing, and now the end is near. And he wrote himself from there. At 5 o'clock in the morning, he called Frank and said, "I have something special for your last album." Anka flew to Las Vegas and sang his new version to Sinatra. No longer an ode to a failing love. And one night he transformed it into a swaggering, powerful cry of defiance. Sinatra's reaction was typically cool. He just gave Anka that wink that he had, and Anka headed off back home. 2 months later, he got a call from Sinatra. He says, "Kid, listen to this," and puts the phone to the speaker. And that was the first time he heard Frank sing the song. The impact was immediate, but not all favourable. While the critics and the public went wild for My Way, Anka's record company was furious that he passed on his masterpiece. He told the record company he could write it, but only Sinatra could sing it. Anka was right. My Way's success was not only down to the lyrics and the melody, it was down to the man who first sang it. My Way was not simply a perfect swan song, it was a perfect swan song for Frank Sinatra. By 1969, he had been in the business for more than 30 years. When My Way came out, the former boxer, Bobby Soxer, crooner, film star, Rat Pack leader, and rumoured mobster had seen it all, done it all, and knew it all, and didn't care who knew it. Only Sinatra could have pulled off the swagger necessary to give the song its full power. Only he had the moral authority to deliver the line, "The record shows I took the blows and did it my way." However, Sinatra's unique moral authority hasn't exactly been recognised by the rest of the singing world. Paul Anka might have known he was the only guy to sing the song, but over the past 40 years, that hasn't stopped just about everyone having a go. The first cover, as I mentioned earlier, was by Welsh crooner Dorothy Squires in 1970, while the original was still in the charts. 7 years later, Elvis Presley took it to the charts, shortly before he died. And a year after that, the Sex Pistols released their infamous version, Oh, by the way, that was a phlegmy cough, not a dry cough, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to start running away or wiping the front of your screens. So where was it? The Sex Pistols, yeah. Sid Vicious on vocals. In a typically archaic style, Vicious forgot many of the lyrics and replaced them with improvised words of his own in his version. For what is a man? What has he got, if not himself? Became the more prosaic. For what is a prat? What has he got if he wears hats? Pathetic. Nor do the 100 versions already recorded deter modern musicians from having a go. Celine Dion, G4, El Divo, Michael Bublé, or Michael Bubble, and even Robbie Williams has tried their hand at it. My Way has become a staple at karaoke's, funerals, retirement parties everywhere. When German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder stepped down in 2005, more than 7 million TV viewers watched as tears welled up in his eyes as a military band saw him off with a version of My Way. The song is also said to be the favourite of former Serbian President Slobodan Milosevic. I always knew I'd get that into a book somewhere. He would play it in his cell at increasingly loud volumes during his trial for crimes against humanity in 2002. In 2005, a survey by Cooperative Funeral Care put My Way at the top of the songs most requested at funerals. A spokesman said, "It has that timeless appeal. The words sum up what so many people feel about them and their lives, and they would like their loved ones to remember them that way." Meanwhile, in the Philippines, My Way is so popular at karaoke bars that it has been declared responsible for the number of deaths, where arguments over performances have degenerated into violence. After a man was shot dead in a bar in Manila in 2007 for singing My Way out of tune, many bars have removed it from their playlists. According to a recent article in the Asian Times, the song is so popular and singing it is taken so seriously that dozens of people have died because of it. The strangest twist to My Way is that the man who immortalised it, he grew to hate this. Although Sinatra did briefly retire in 1971, he was persuaded to make numerous comebacks, and with each one, My Way became more of a burden to sing. During a gig at the Albert Hall in 1984, Frank was heard to mutter under the rapturous applause that met the soaring finale of chords, "I can't stand the song myself." When he died in 1998, he chose not to follow minions who had used My Way as their epitaph. Inscribed on his tomb, instead, is the title of an earlier hit, "The Best Is Yet to Come." Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, what have we got? Let me see, I can just check. Oh, it's a goodie. It's a real goodie. I'll give you a hint. It's some Scouse guys that kind of got together for them. They were fairly good. It's a good song. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.